Hello again. I can't believe it's practically summer, can you? Oh my goodness. Well, you remember last week we read a book called Saturday about a little girl and her mom who had the most terrible day ever. Everything they tried to do together that day that they've been looking forward to all week was a disaster. Remember? And in the end, though, they figured out that, there's something more important than getting everything we want or everything being perfect, right? Well, today is a similar book. It's called Carmela, Full of Wishes, and it's about a little girl. It's her birthday, and it starts out with a trip, a job that her mom has sent her brother and Carmela on the birthday. And because it's her older brother, okay, any of you who have had an older brother or sister, or maybe even a younger brother or sister, you know that you don't always get along, right? Let's find out, okay? Carmela, Full of Wishes. Written by Matt de la Peña. Illustrations by Christian Robinson. Carmela scootered along the uneven dirt path, watching men stoop to work with their hands, her birthday bracelets jingling and jangling. The thick greenhouse air smelled of marigolds and overturned earth and fresh manure. Carmela knew exactly what manure was, but she didn't want to think about that. Not today. Today, she awoke to candles in her pancakes, and her mom sang, "Happy birthday to you," and told her, "Go on, mija, make a wish." But Carmela's wish had already come true. She was finally old enough to go with her big brother. Carmela followed as he cut back onto the fence at Freedom Boulevard, past the crowded bus stop and fenced-off repair shop, past the old folks' home where two hunched old women waved smiles, past the huge home improvement store where her dad used to stand around weekend mornings waiting for work. Carmela tried to make small talk with her brother as their metal cart rattled, but her brother didn't make small talk back. He didn't want her tagging along. "Too bad," she told him with her best glare. Just outside the laundromat, she picked a lone dandelion growing among the concrete weeds. She pulled a breath and leaned toward the fuzzy white bulb, but just before she could blow, her brother butted in. "Did you even make a wish? You're supposed to make a wish. Everyone knows that." "Of course I made a wish," she told him. But it was a lie. Carmela didn't know. Carmela helped her brother sort colors one-handed, helped him load the washers one item at a time. While their clothes spun, her imagination turned, each new thought ushered in by a jingle of bracelets. Her brother found the sound annoying and shot her a dirty look. "Too bad," she told him with her glare. She jingled her bracelets as she rode up to Miss Maria's vegetable stand, imagining a machine built into her bedroom wall, one that would spit out anything she could think of, but mostly candies. She jingled her bracelets in line at the locksmith shop, imagining her mom sleeping in one of those fancy hotel beds she spent all day making for fancy guests. She jingled her bracelets at the bodega down the block from their old apartment building, imagining her dad getting his papers fixed so he could finally be home. She jingled her bracelets outside the pharmacy, eyeing the shiny new bikes in the window. Her brother stopped in his tracks. "Why do you have to be so annoying?" She thrummed her bracelets at him and said, "It's a free country." The only time she didn't reach for her bracelets was when her brother ducked into his friend's house. Carmela slumped down on the curb, silently imagining all the things she could turn him into. The slimy pink tail of a rat, a cockroach scurrying away from the light, a wheelbarrow full of manure left in the sun. She stared down at the dandelion in her hand. It seemed so much more important now that she knew it was a place to put her wishes. What if she made the wrong choice? Carmela tried to hop a curb on the long trip home, but her tire caught and her handlebars twisted and she went crashing to the concrete. "Don't cry, don't cry, don't cry." But then she saw her dandelion crushed beside the drain. She looked up at her big brother, warm tears rolling down her cheeks. He lifted up her scooter. "You okay?" She shook her head and pointed. "My wish." He took her by the arm and led her back up the block, past the laundromat and the flea market, past the greenhouses and the smell of manure, past the overgrown park and across the train tracks. He didn't stop until they made it to an abandoned farmhouse near a cliff overlooking the sea. "Close your eyes," he said. Carmela closed them. "Now, make your wish," he said. Carmela listened to the ocean's hum in the distance. She listened to the squawking birds. She listened to the wind whistling past her ears. Then she opened her eyes. She saw hundreds of tiny white spores lifting into the air, floating out toward the far-off surf. The sky was full of wishes. "Let's go," her brother said. "Don't you want to know my wish?" she asked. He shook his head. "If you tell, it won't come true." She looked back one last time, then took off her bracelets and followed her brother home. The end. Carmela annoyed her big brother, didn't she? What annoyed her brother? Oh, the bracelets. Remember, she kept shaking her hand and her bracelets kept jangling and annoyed her brother no end, right? He was like, oh, he has to spend the day with her on their chores, right? They had to go to the laundromat and do the laundry and all the other places they had to go, and she was there jangling those bracelets, right? Brothers and sisters, do you have brothers and sisters or cousins or friends like that? Do you annoy them with some things you do? You wonder? Think about it. I bet you do. Do they annoy you with some things they do? I bet you there is some things you do that drive them crazy, right? And why is that? Well, are you perfect? I'm not perfect. No one is perfect, right? We're just people. And God knows, we're just people. We're just human beings, which means, yeah, we kind of mess up sometimes, right? And, oh, I was thinking about Jesus. Remember, he had 12 disciples, 12 special friends, that he hung out with and was teaching. And there were 2 sets of brothers in that group of 12, James and John, and Peter and Andrew. I wonder, do you think that they annoyed each other sometimes? I bet you they did, right? So what do you do when you annoy somebody or they annoy you? Well, what did Carmela's brother do? I mean, he told her he really didn't like those bracelets and the way she kept jangling them, right? And she just ignored him and kept shaking them. But what happened when she fell down and smooshed her dandelion, right? She was so sad. Now, what did her brother do? Did he say something? All he said was, "Are you okay?" What did he do? Oh, he took her to a place by the sea where there were a whole bunch of dandelions whirling away into the sky, right? And she was like, wow, this is so cool. And then what did she do? Did she say, sorry about, annoying you with my bracelets? She didn't say anything, did she? She just took them off, put them in her pocket. Sometimes it's not the words that show that we're sorry. What is it? It is our actions. Just like Carmela and her brother. They loved each other. And they both had irritated each other, right? But they found through deeds, actions, a way to smooth things over and remember they both loved each other. Sometimes that's what we need to do too, right? So, have a good week. See you next week for another cool book. Okay, bye. Carmela Full of Wishes is dedicated by the author, Matt de la Peña, for his grandparents, Jesus and Natividad de la Peña, and everyone else who has journeyed to America with a dream.